Welcome back to Hot 91.9. I'm the Eskimo Rider, and this is the band Strip feature. Our special guest tonight is the incredibly talented and wonderful songwriter, singer-songwriter, musician, Werner Bekker. Werner, welcome to the Unplugged studio.
Thank you so much for having me, man.
So now, I know you've been on Hot before,
Yes.
but that's before all these amazing things have happened to your music.
Yes, yeah, well, it's been an awesome couple of months, eh? Like, this year has just kicked off like mad.
Listen, I've had the good fortune of playing on the same roster with you over the years. But I was always very curious, and I think our listeners would be very curious too. Where did you study music?
I studied at COPA, Campus of Performing Arts. And they've got this degree that is affiliated with a university in England called the University of Chichester.
Yeah.
Which I wish I could have studied there, just because it's England. But yeah, so I did that whole thing. That was really awesome. Got to learn a lot about music, stuff that I didn't know before, and kind of appreciate some music that I never really appreciated before. So we went into lots of jazz and lots of pop as well, which for me as a folky singer-songwriter, pop really wasn't ever a reference for me.
Absolutely, yeah. Is that the place where your ability on the guitar you think was accelerated, and that's where you...
I'm sure, like, I studied vocals there, so for me the guitar was always kind of my passion. I don't know why. It just kind of I got jealous of my sister playing guitar, and so I started learning guitar. So guitar was a passion before that, but I think kind of developing my style really happened in that time, and I really learned how to bring in different genres and respect different genres. When you're a teenager, you're kind of like, I don't like this, I don't like that, and then you eventually learn to like everything.
Also working with lots of other musicians and meeting lots of other musicians.
Definitely, that's a big thing. Like, influence comes from all around you, and you don't even notice that. I actually, like, with Dion Bacchus the other day, we had this whole conversation at our campsite in Lush where we were talking about how pop influences both our styles as well as everything else. For instance, he loves metal, but he makes this kind of ska, jazz, punk vibe.
Pop influences everything. I mean, all it stands for is popular music.
Exactly.
And it just means that most of the world listening to that particular genre of music at any particular time. Like,
definitely.
I think pop is more like R&B these days and hip-hop. That's more popular
that
music.
is pop these days.
And when did Von Beck start, and what was your journey with Von Beck?
So Von Beck started when I was still studying. This one guy, Gareth Reed, he's with Riddle Break. They wanted an extra vocalist, so I was like keen. But then I realized that I really wanted to focus on my own music, and I asked him if he knows any bassists or drummers that would like to play with me. And he introduced me to a guy named Michael Goslin, and so he found a drummer, and we kind of just started this whole band, and it was basically just chilling at their place, playing lots of music, and for 2 years that went on, and eventually it kind of fizzled out, and I decided to go more the solo singer-songwriter route after that.
You guys ever record anything?
We did. So the EP, my EP that's on Apple Music, one of my previous EPs called A Northern Summer.
That's the one, okay.
Yeah.
That's a Von Beck EP, right?
That's actually a Von Beck EP that I eventually just released under my own name.
I get it. As a songwriter, I'm always curious, what are the stories and messages that you as Werner Bekker want to talk about?
So for me, it's all about being genuine and true to what I feel in my life, because I feel that songwriting is kind of a conversation between the singer and the audience. And so if you talk with your friends about anything happening in your life, they can sort of relate. And I think that's what I try to do with songwriting as well, is to make my own music, to create my own sound, and hopefully people can relate to that. So it can be about anything. The messages that I want to get across is basically things that I experience in my life. And then from there on, hopefully someone else can experience that as well and kind of relate.
Do you write any... Listen, I personally love writing a lot of character songs from people I observe. Do you write a lot of character songs?
So I have a couple of those. I call them Bob Dylan-y songs. Like storytelling.
Exactly.
Exactly.
We talk about these interesting characters that sometimes you see on a Sunday afternoon just chilling on their own at a pub. And you go, what is this guy's story?
Exactly. Yeah, I love people watching. So yeah, definitely, I've got a couple of those.
So on that note, your first track that you've selected for us to play in the Unplugged tonight is a track called You.
Yeah.
What is the story behind that song?
So the story behind the song, it's a very happy-go-lucky kind of sounding song, but the story is actually quite dark.
Yeah.
So my parents went through divorce when I was about 19 years old.
Right.
And for some reason, I was really sad, and this happy song just came out. And for years, I didn't know that it was about the divorce. I thought at the time, oh, it's about a previous relationship
It's
that
a beautiful,
I'd been in.
it's a beautiful human process called catharsis.
Yeah, exactly. So like 2 years after, I realized, oh my word, this is what the song is about.
Yeah. You're actually self-healing.
Yeah, and kind of like pleading with my parents in the song, and I didn't even notice that I was doing that.
Fantastic. Well, I'm looking forward to hearing that. I'm sure our listeners are very curious too. This is Werner Bekker with his first track on the Bandstrip feature. It's a track called You.
Baby darling, count the hours. Baby darling, count the years. Let me pick a bunch of flowers and put them all behind your ears. 'Cause I found love where it was lost, and I found it was worth more than any dream could cost. And darling, it's you. You made me feel alright. And darling, it's you now, baby, out of sight. Oh, honey, give me something sweet. Sweetie, give me only you. Nah, 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 honey. Your sexy flair is hard to beat. It might sound stupid, but it's true. And when you kiss me on the cheek, I feel like I'm a little boy. No, fighting far too hard to keep from screaming out with joy. Oh, no, 'cause I found love where it was lost, and I found it was worth more than any dream could cost. And darling, it's you. You make me feel alright. And darling, it's you now, baby, baby, my darling, it's you, woo, 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 woo. Darling, it's you. And darling, it's you, woo, 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 woo. You make me feel alright. And darling, it's you, woo, 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 woo. Darling, it's you. And darling, it's you, woo, 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 woo. Baby, out of sight, no, yeah, no. When you feel that you can't compete with girls on TV or in magazines, just know that it's you. You make me feel alright. Baby, you make me feel, you make me feel, you make me vibe, make me vibe, make me vibe, 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 vibe. And darling, it's you, woo, 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 woo. Darling, it's you. And darling, it's you, woo, 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 woo. You make me feel alright. And darling, it's you, woo, 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 woo. And darling, it's you. And darling, it's you, woo, 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 woo. Baby, out of sight, no, you're out of sight. My honey buns now, now. Hey, baby, out of sight, no, 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 no. Na 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 no na no na no na no na no na da ba 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 the sweet don't ba ba da ba 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 sweet tea tea.
And that was Werner Bekker with You. A wonderful, wonderful track.
Thank you.
And Werner, what prompted your style of playing guitar?
On
your lap.
On my lap.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So Ben Howard is kind of my big influence on that side.
I picked that up the first time I saw you.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Yo, that's a massive influence for me and a massive compliment from
Somebody
you.
asked me, I was talking about you. I said, this guy, Werner Bekker, was amazing. And they asked me, who did he sound like? I said, the best thing I can describe is Ben Howard. He sounded like Ben Howard.
Over the weekend,
Yeah.
someone said to me, it's like Ben Howard and Jason Mraz got together and sort of became one person.
I think your new stuff sounds it's got a very Jason Mraz influence.
Thank you.
And I love Jason Mraz. He's one of my favorites.
Me too.
So that's why I fell in love with your music, because you had two artists, influence of two artists, which I thoroughly enjoyed too.
Thanks, man. Yeah.
So back to that. So you started playing because obviously Ben Howard does that.
Yeah, he does that. So what I did was at school, I had this talent competition, and I learned his song Under the Same Sun,
Yeah.
and played it, and everyone loved it. So then afterwards, I was like, okay, cool, I want to try create my own songs like
Yeah.
this, and that's how it sort
So
of
how many
evolved.
songs have you written like that, playing it on your lap?
There's some that have gotten lost, but
Yeah.
I would say about 5 or 6.
Would you say God in Lost? Where?
So like
They've just
I write
disappeared
them
into the
and
ether.
then I just forget about them.
Uh-huh.
So like there's lines that still stick with me from those songs,
Yeah.
but I can't remember the full songs.
Listen, are we talking about laps? What else have you played on your lap? You don't have to answer that.
I think I'm just gonna leave that one to
Okay,
be.
cool. I was prompting your next song, which is a track called Open Spoken.
Yeah.
What's the story behind that song?
So for me, this song was really about coming out of a long relationship. Well, it felt really long. It was a year relationship. It was really tough. And then meeting new people.
When you're young, 1 year does feel like an eternity.
It does, eh?
When you're older, 1 year feels like a month. It's a weird thing.
Yeah, and also I think the overall atmosphere of this relationship made it feel really long.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was basically a horrible relationship. Got out of it, met some new people, and you kind of can't help but think about that old relationship when you meet someone new and be scared of falling into the same trap again. So that's basically what it's about.
And okay, so this song's not going out to anyone particular, but this person knows who they are, right?
Yeah, she'll know who she is.
Absolutely. Well, this is Werner. Sorry, we'll start that again. This is Werner Bekker's Open Spoken, which is his message to somebody very specific who knows who they are.
I was broken, I was lost. Open spoken, paid the cost. Lost and found you in the dark. Blind with patience in our hearts. And have I lost and found you again? Or have you always been an old friend? These ties were severed prematurely. This was never the way it should be. You're open, spoken, spoken, open. Speaking 'cause your mind is free. You're open, spoken, spoken, open. I've just gotta let it be. You're open, spoken, spoken, open. Speaking 'cause your mind is free. Open, spoken, spoken, open. I've just gotta let it be. Oh, you're open, spoken. She broke me, I broke her. Mad deliverance, medallion. Evil gestures, human thoughts. Blind with patience in our hearts. And have I lost and found you again? Or have you always been an old friend? These ties were severed prematurely. This was never the way it should be. You're open, spoken, spoken, open. Speaking 'cause your mind is free. You're open, spoken, spoken, open. I've just gotta let it be. You're open, spoken, spoken, open. Speak speaking, 'cause your mind is free. Open, spoken, spoken, open. I've just gotta let it be. Oh, you're open, spoken. You're open, spoken now.
And that was Werner Bekker with Open Spoken, a very open and spoken track. Werner, I'm curious about many things, about what's influenced you and what's really got you to this point in your career. Which artist in South Africa would you say that you admire the most?
Sure, that's a difficult one because of the local acts, I love so many. First of all, as friends, and second of all, for the innovation that all the artists create. So for me, I think a big one is Jock Moorman. I just saw him at Lush this weekend, and oh my word, that guy just keeps going at it. We studied some of his songs at Copa as well, so for me that's a big one. And then also, obviously, your singer-songwriter guys like Guy Battery. Guitar-wise, he's one of the best. Dion Bacchus. He's my friend, but I look up to him, man. The way he can just get a crowd going, for me, that's very foreign because I'm very chilled on stage. And so to see that...
I've seen you get crowds going as well. Because I think once you get into it, your personality certainly comes out when you're playing. And I think we learn those things as artists from actually watching other artists and saying, wow, I love the way he did that. And you try to innovate on stage and try to do the same things. But it takes a while to get comfortable in your own skin.
Definitely.
Did you find that
completely true? That when I was in school, the first time I performed, I was very timid. And so the next time I wanted to perform, I tried copying Jason Mraz. And so like literally some of the movements that he does, I would try and imitate on stage.
And he's also very conversational when he plays.
Definitely. So what that kind of taught me to kind of mold that into my own thing. So you start off copying someone, and then eventually it becomes you, and you become more yourself.
I think I did the same. I mean, I listened to a lot of REM, and I loved Michael Stipe. I loved his stage presence and everything he did. And I found that even when I spoke on stage, I spoke sort of like him. Even now, with his deep tones, that's where I learned that from.
What?
Which artists have influenced your style outside of Mraz and Ben Howard, which I think are very obvious choices, but which are the other unorthodox artists that may have influenced you?
So there's this one band called Fink, Fink was a techno style DJ, and he used to hate on acoustic folk music. And then at one point he just wanted to create something with his hands, music with his hands, and he started making folk music. And he still got that trippy kind of influence, and for me that's really cool. And you wouldn't necessarily hear it in my music, but I feel it influences me a lot. And then another one is definitely Damien Rice,
he's
one of my all-time favorites.
I love the simplicity of Damien Rice because it was generally an acoustic guitar, a violin, and I think an upright bass. That was essentially his set.
And the cool thing about him, what really inspired me, is that he recorded all of his first major album across Europe in different places. There's the story that for one song's vocal, he put a mic into a shoe. And that's how he got the sound for that. So he's very innovative with the recording process. And you can hear it. It sounds true and honest. You can hear creaks in the floor, that sort of stuff, like that subtle texture, you know.
Well, it makes me think of where else you could place mics to get good sounds. But I suppose that's for another show at another time, much later than this.
Definitely.
Your next track is a track called Let It Go. How did this song come about?
So this song was definitely a work in progress. What happened with this song is I got this cool riff, also like a percussive style thing, not on my lap though. This riff just stuck with me for like 2 years, and I didn't know what to do with it, and I struggled to put vocals on, so it was hard for me. And then one day I just sat down during a difficult time, and this just came out. It was like during a fight between me and that same ex.
Oh wow! So a lot of material came out of this particular relationship. You can be thankful for that.
It was great, man. I'm very thankful.
I always say songwriters thrive in adversity and challenge, because it gives us lots of material for songs. All right, so I'm looking forward to this one. This is Werner Bekker with his third and final track on Band Stripped. It's a track called Let It Go.
your legs in evidently, and let it go. Whoa, let it go. Oh, 'cause you've always gone so far to save me. Oh, darling, you've always gone so far. So when the lights run out, I'll be next to you, with nothing on but the morning dew. And you'll see me for who I am, just parts of a broken man. Soft touch, you're always saying too much. Light me just to seal the real deal. I can't say how you're supposed to unfeel by letting go. Whoa, let it go. Oh, 'cause you've always gone so far to save me. Oh, darling, you've always gone so far. So when the lights run out, I'll be next to you, with nothing on but the morning dew. And you'll see me for who I am, just parts of a broken man.
Welcome back to Hot 91.9. This is the Eskimo Rider with Werner Bekker in the band strip feature right here on the station. Werner, thank you for being an incredible guest and playing your 3 songs with us tonight.
It's a pleasure, man. Thank you.
Now, before we go, we've got to tell people where they can find you.
Yeah. So the tricky thing with my name is I like keeping my name honest. So it's Werner Bekker. That's my real name.
Yeah.
Werner is not with a V, it's with a W. That's the trickiest one. And then Bekker with a double K. And all my social media is Werner Bekker Music. So again, just W, Bekker with a double K, and then music.
No underscores, no spaces.
Nothing. That's it. That's the great thing of having a weird, unique name is that, well, very Afrikaans name is that it's easy to find.
Yeah. And what is your new album titled?
It's called Parts of a Broken Man. So yeah, you can also find that on Spotify, Apple Music, Deezer,
so all the
YouTube Music,
all the digital platforms, etc. Fantastic, Werner. Thank you so much. You are an amazing talent, and I hope that with your new single and your new album, that it continues to soar and rise and gets the credit and the attention that it deserves.
Thank you so much.
That was Werner Bekker right here on Band Stripped. He was our guest, playing 3 of his songs. Which I assume are all from the new album, right?
Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. So go out there and support him on social media. You know his handle. Go out and check out his music on iTunes, Spotify, and all digital platforms. That was the Band Strip feature with Werner. Werner, thank you.
It's a pleasure. Thank you.